I had no idea that £2,368.46 was going to be the value when we got to the end of it. I had no idea.
No, I had no idea as well. I mean, that is absolutely, well, it's fantastic. Hi, and welcome back to M's Den. We're Paul and Marie.
And today, hun,
What is it?
We are going through the two lots. Yes, hun, two lots. Look at us. That we bought at auction recently. Now, if you saw our last Wednesday's auction video, we talked about that we had 100 lots that we were going there to look at, weren't we? And
100, I was getting worried.
Yes, you were worried. And we got home, and if you saw the live bidding, you'll see that we only won 5. But what we didn't tell you was that we put in 23, we were interested in 23. That's what we scaled it down to, didn't we?
Yeah, 23
we didn't
lots,
bid on all 100.
No.
We're not made of money, are we?
No, that's it. And that's the reason you go and look.
Yeah, to narrow down to what you actually do want.
So, you know, obviously sometimes it's not possible, but if you can go and look, then yes, definitely worth doing.
Yes, and we did this auction. We picked up the items on the day that we did our little video about having a break from YouTube.
Yep.
So this is now 5 weeks later. So I'm still sulking, hun, about some of those lots that I didn't win. Still sulking.
Yeah, I know. There were some that you really wanted,
It
weren't
can
there?
really get you, though, when you don't get the ones you want. You know there's something there. You know you can make money, but someone else knows as well.
Yeah, that's it.
So
and
that's
the thing is that
goes.
the pricing will just go sky high, and what's the point? And you wouldn't be making much money, would you?
No, that's it. And
so
if you sort of saw that I was sort of showing an interest in postcard lots, this is something that I've realised about myself. I'm making these videos is that I don't just want to buy one of something. I want to buy 3,000 of something.
You want to buy hundreds of them. That's it.
I've got some sort of problem. That's what I'm sensing. Because for some reason, as I've got older, I like to challenge myself, and sometimes I think, why have I given myself all that workload? Why am I like that? I need help. So let's take you back to 5 weeks ago. Now, last week's video, we went through the little electrical lot, didn't we?
That's right, we did, yeah. It was the whole process, wasn't it? And then we showed you, the electrical lot.
And that sat on the shelf for 5 weeks.
Yes.
Well, 4 weeks, because we filmed it last week.
Yes, yeah.
But everything else that we bought also stayed on the shelf, apart from the 2 book lots. Now, we bid at this auction on 7 lots of books. Now, why was that, hun? We had this crazy idea, didn't we, of buying books because...
Hang on. Did you say we had this crazy idea?
What it is, recently, probably February, March time, we started getting back into Amazon.
Yes.
Now, we thought, well, what we'd do, we'd go to charity shops, and we did. We bought some books from charity shops, and we've done quite well with books selling on Amazon.
Yeah.
But we have that awkwardness where we're skulking in the corner, trying to scan the books.
It's not always possible as well. I mean, you're there in the corner in the back of the charity shop, which is where most of the books are.
And they always put it by the door where everyone's doing their work. You know, where they do the sorting. So there's always people in there, and you're trying to...
It's not just the fact that you're trying to scan without them knowing, really. It's the fact that the signal on your phone.
Yeah.
A lot of the time, the signal is terrible. And of course, you know, when you've got low signal, it does take time for things to filter through. So it's a bit frustrating that way as well. So we sort of thought, is there another way
of getting a volume of vintage books? Because we're not really interested in novels and things like that. It's more the vintage niche type books we're interested in. And we hit upon the idea that the auctions always have rows and rows of books, vintage books. So we tried to come up beforehand, didn't we, of a plan of how we can scan them, how we can look at the auction to see whether each lot is worth bidding on.
You wouldn't do all of the books. It's
just a handful.
Just picking some out and just seeing if you can scan them, just to see if it's actually worth bidding on for Amazon.
Yes, and when we went to actually look, we had a look at all the book lots, didn't we?
My collar's all over.
You're always struggling with yours. So we had a look at the auction, but unfortunately we had the issue again with the reception.
Reception was awful.
You couldn't do any scanning.
Couldn't do it at all.
So we did our normal thing of counting the books. This is how we get an idea, counting the books, and then we went off to the garden centre and we had a coffee and had a big discussion about what we would pay per piece for the books in each of these lots, just to get an idea of, you've got to take a chance sometimes, haven't you? and we sort of come up with the plan that if we were to bid 40p for a book, then that would probably be all right. We'd be able to make some money. We would, you'll keep competing against people like World of Books, but if you put the bundles to make some bundles, you must be able to make money on that. That was our
it was
thought process.
Looking at it one way or another sort of thing. Is mainly trying to get some for Amazon, and then, like you said, bundling them up and putting them on eBay, and another way of just it's just trying to make sure you can make money one way or another. Out of the lot.
Taking a chance to see whether it is an effective way of sourcing books in volume. And I think half the problem here, Hun, is that we watch too much of Mel Back from Burnout. She is an absolute legend in the reselling community, an absolute legend. We love watching her videos, and she makes it look so easy, doesn't she?
She does.
She's carting all them books around, making it look easy, but she's very young and very fit, very thin. And I've realised I'm never going to be like Mel Back from Burnout. It was a stupid idea to buy a load of books because, she's a legend at doing that, and us, not so much.
Well, we're sort of...
we're trying, aren't we? We're always trying.
We're getting older now, aren't we? It's, things are not as easy as they were back a few years ago. So actually collecting them...
Yes, we didn't really factor in. We thought we got very wrapped up in the price per piece. Didn't really think too much about the weight of the books. So let's show you. I'm going to put a picture up here. This was lot 966, which unbelievably only went for £14.
Bargain.
I took this photo on the floor, Hun, just to give an idea of how much we got for £14, because it's incredible. You must be able to make money from £14.
Oh, definitely.
So with fees, it came to £18.20p. Now, we've dealt with both of these job lots together purely because we had such a volume that we couldn't put them in the garage. We don't like putting books in the garage, even though it's not cold now.
It's not cold. It's not a damp garage, is it?
No, you still don't want to risk it. All the books we sell online go in our office. Yeah. They're all housed in our office. So,
I mean, we're probably being way overcautious, but...
yes, but also we didn't have the room to store this massive volume. So far you've seen the picture of lot 966, which was a total of £18.20.
Yeah.
Now this is the big lot, Hun. This is the what were we thinking lot.
That's what we're calling it.
Hopefully you're seeing it on the shelves. This is lot 977. And we bid £65, so with fees we bid £84.50 for these books. Now the only thing we knew about these books was that on the day we'd gone there we'd counted that there were over 200. Yes. So we knew there was a large volume, which is why we sort of wanted them really, but they were all aviation themed.
Yeah.
So we thought, well, that's quite niche, they've got to have some sort of value to them, there's got to be... because they were quite vintage as well, weren't they?
Yes.
So, not the run-of-the-mill. And there was also some folders of magazines, aviation-themed magazines. And we thought, well, we've had...
Worth a shot,
it's worth a try, isn't it?
Yeah.
So in total, Hun, we spent £102.70p on books. Now, we thought we were getting the first lot and then the second lot. So we we knew we were getting 200 books. When we turned up at the auction, it was a little bit of a shock that how tiring it was to load them from the shelf into the bags and then getting them from the bags out to the door, down the steps and then into the van. One of the porters was sent to help us. He did one trip to the door and then we never saw him again.
I don't know whether he got called off to do something else or
I was loading quite a lot of books in those bags.
He did sort of vanish.
Thank goodness for IKEA bags, Hun. That's all I can say.
I know, fantastic.
They
IKEA
sort of
bags,
saved the day, but they made it so heavy.
It was really, really heavy.
And I couldn't help you. All I could do was put them into the bags. You then had to load them yourself because I couldn't lift them.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, because there was such a volume, even the person from the auction come over and sort of said, "Oh, it looks quite, you've got quite a lot."
You might want to do two trips.
You might want to do 2 trips there because of the shock absorbers.
I was keeping an eye on it, and I was saying to you after every time I put a load in, I could see the suspension going down and down and down, and it got to a point, and I'm thinking, "Oh, that could be quite dangerous." So, so I don't, and when you looked at what was left, you thought, no, it's definitely going to have to be 2 trips.
Yeah, which was a bit of a shame because we are about 20 minutes away.
20 to 25 minutes away. And so it's in effect another hour out of your day, sort of thing.
Yeah, which we didn't really anticipate.
We don't like wasting time. It's one of our sort of
we try and maximise as much of our time as possible.
Yeah, so of course when you've got to do something like that, it's a bit frustrating because they would have gone in space-wise. It was just the weight.
Yeah, we didn't really factor too much about the weight because when we knew we had 2 lots of weight, but we also knew we had the other 3 lots weren't too bad.
They were
one of them was a lot of 7 boxes, which will be in next week's video. But that also had 2 or 3 boxes of books. So really, it was proper book fest, wasn't it, Hal?
Yeah, a lot of books.
So how many books did we get in total? I think you should do the big reveal, hun. It shocked us. It shocked us at how many we actually had bought.
Yeah. 512 books.
Now, this was on the day that we made
these
the
are
video.
not small books.
These are all mainly hardback books or folders.
Quite thick, big, mainly big books.
And this was on the day that we had sort of done our little video saying we were having a break because we wanted to focus purely on our backlog and clear stuff, which we did, but we just bought all this and we were left thinking, what have we done? Why have we tortured ourselves by buying this volume of books, especially on the day that we were making the video saying, well, that's it, we're having a break.
We're having a break, I know.
So what we did is we put them all in our living room, piles and piles of books all in our living room, and we had a little alleyway to get to the pub where we do all the clothing, and that was where one of the rooms where we needed to do the sorting.
Yeah.
So what we effectively did then is left them there whilst we were doing all the tidying and the sorting. And then all over Easter we had 500 books all over our living room floor. Luckily no one came round.
Yes.
And this sort of makes you think, well, why do we do this? Why do we buy massive loads of things? And I think it's because we're always trying to get the cheapness per piece. That's what it tends to be.
When you get collections or anything like that, you can generally get it cheaper, can't you? As a massive collection.
Yeah, and I think that's what we like to do.
Just buying 5 pieces of something. So so we're trying to get the cost down as low as we can get for what we want to buy, really.
And it turns out this made it, hun. By the time we worked it all out, it made it 20p per book.
Ooh.
So not bad
20p
per piece.
book.
20p per book for vintage. Everything was vintage. We were very lucky.
Yeah.
But how did we deal with it? Well, the first thing we did is we took, or I say I bagged them up. Paul took them to the book bank. Now the reason we did this, what we first did with everything is we scanned on the Amazon app, didn't we?
Yeah.
That's 500 books we did that on. 512 books got scanned to the Amazon app, and we wheedled out the ones that had the value.
Yeah.
Now straight away we could see that there was lots of themes. So the person who had the biggest collection, it was all aviation themed, but he also had a bit of a thing for collecting magazines.
Yeah.
So he had other magazine collections that weren't aviation themed, but they were sets. He liked his sets. So we were left with 124 books that were singles. You couldn't really combine them together. They were a little bit odd. So they went to the book bank.
Yeah.
That was great.
And there wasn't any value in them.
No,
really.
and you couldn't put them together. They were all unusual things.
It's... Yeah.
So, and sometimes the condition might not have been great, but we were a little bit annoyed because a week later we saw Carby Chris do his Ziffit sort of video on media, and we thought, that's great, if we ever get a big collection of media, we'll do that. And then a week, I think it was a few days, but then a few days later Nick did the same style of video on books using Ziffit for books, and we were like, oh my goodness me, we didn't even know, didn't even twig that you could sell books online to these sort of places.
Yeah, but they're only going to pay you if it's worth doing, and if there's no value on eBay, there'd be virtually no value. They wouldn't pay you for that.
No, but it would have been a way of getting some money back from it. So that's a tip. If you have a big old lot of books, have a look, because we didn't even think of that, did we?
We didn't. No.
So what we've done, we're going to put up a picture here because we went through all the books, we've scanned them all, and what we found that we had, I'm going to put my glasses on, so I can actually see, is we had some books out of all of those 512, this is a number of books that we actually had for Amazon. We bought 512 books on for that. 12 books out of all those 512.
Excuse me.
Only 12 books were good enough for Amazon, but unfortunately, the sort of the value, not the value, it's the, what is it, the sales, not the sales ranking,
Sales
is it called
ranking,
sales
yeah.
ranking?
Yeah.
They were about 1 million. We kept
Yeah,
the ones that
it's-
were about 1 million, which is all right, but we wouldn't want to risk sending them up to
We
Amazon.
did want them stay sat at Amazon in the storage facility for a long time because you're being charged storage fees, and of course that will eventually eat away all any profit that you got in the item. So
Yes, that's it.
so yeah, we decided to do them here, didn't we?
Decided to do them FBM because, to be
Yeah.
honest, if they only cost 20p each, we don't mind them sitting on our shelf for a fair old time, do we?
No,
'Cause they only
no,
cost
no.
20p
That's
each.
it. Yeah.
So this is the combined total value, hum, which might surprise you of those 12 books.
Oh right, okay. Wow, £215.45 for 12 books.
For 12 books. So there is some value in them. I don't know how long they'll take to sell, if they ever sell, but that's the route they're going. They're already listed, aren't they?
Yes,
they're on
they're
our
listed,
shelf,
yeah.
waiting to be sold now.
Yeah.
So let's look at the rest of the books. What we did is we, as I say, we scanned them all, didn't we? Wheedled
Yeah.
out the good from the not so good. And then we did a fair amount of grouping. So we're going to put a picture up here. I'm also going to put my laptop
I'm
here.
just going to have
a
a
sip.
swig. Sorry.
Yes, what we've
We're
got.
still having it, Keith.
We've still going for it. I'm going to put up a picture here so you can see. This is a typical bundle, 5 books. That's what we tended to do.
Yes.
£12.99. That's our thinking was that if we can sell them for £10, each book's only worth about £3. We checked all the books out, only worth about £3. So let's do 5 for £12.99. Take £10 on an offer.
Yeah.
Get them out the door.
Yeah.
What we didn't realise is that quite a lot of time is taken checking the books. Also, the photography of book bundles is not the quickest, is it? Individual books
Individual
wasn't too
books
bad.
is fine, but when you do a book bundle, it just does take a little bit longer, doesn't it? And you're trying to get the best pictures you can get and use up all the 24 photos, the allocation on eBay. You just want to make sure you get everything right if there's any major problems with any of the books, and
That's it. You've got to check everything.
Definitely quicker if you've got a single book.
Yes. So what we did is we went through everything, and to be honest, there were some nuggets and some gems, but
Yeah.
on the whole, most of it was probably bundled together.
Yes. Yeah.
So in total, hun, this is the number of listings that we created for eBay.
Wow, 95.
So
95
95
listed.
book bundles. Some of them will say book bundle because we like to in the SKU number them, don't we?
Book bundle.
But some of the book bundles only had one item in.
Yeah.
Some only had 2, some only had 3, but on the whole,
Yes.
the majority were bundles of 5,
Yeah.
and we did it in that sort of way. So the total number of books that got listed was
376.
yes, and we mentioned
Wow.
that there was quite a few folders. This person, Mr. Sharp, his name was, collected lots of folders of things back in the day.
Yes.
80s, 90s. It was the old Marshall Cavendish, Orbis, I think it was. So we've learned a fair bit about magazine collections. But
Yeah.
this was the number of folders that we had,
Do we really have that many
That
folders?
many heavy folders,
I
yes.
know, they were
Filled with magazines.
Yeah. Paid to photograph they were, I tell you. 49 folders.
Now that covered 7 different collections. Now the only thing I will say is if you're out and about and you see any folders, is that it can be quite timely because you have to check that if it's complete. Check
Yes,
every
yeah.
make sure every magazine is
Yeah,
in order.
that's
Make
it.
sure because they're all numbered, so you've got a fair amount of flicking to do through that. But let's go through the complete list because we've now 5 weeks later. It took 3 weeks to do all the drafts. It's taken 5 weeks in total to get everything on and get all to this point where we could
Yeah.
work it out to do the video. But this is the listing value of just eBay.
That's just eBay.
That's just those 95 listings.
Okay, £2,153 and 3 pence.
And 3 pence, yeah. And then
Wow.
this, hun, is the total listing of the Amazon value and
That's,
the
total,
eBay
total
value.
for those two. Yeah. £2,368 and 46 pence. That's fantastic.
So when you look at the fact that we paid
paid-
£102.70 You can see
I
there
mean,
is
obviously
potential.
there's lots of fees to come out
Lots
of
of
that,
fees,
and
lots
postage
of
and things like that. But
offers to be taken.
even so, I mean, you know, when you do take all that out, that's a lot of money to be made, providing they sell.
Providing they sell. Well, what we've done is, because we've had this going on for 5 weeks, we thought it was important to sort of give you an idea of what has sold so far. So far, hun, we've sold this many lots.
How many lots? 40.
This one here.
Oh, that one down there. Sorry, 21 lots.
I've written everything really small, so Paul struggles. It's one of the things I like to do. When we go to boot sales, I load you up.
Yeah.
When I write anything, I write it really small.
Yeah. You know,
bit of fun,
tries to give me a backache at the boot sale.
That's it. and make you squint when I'm writing things. Makes me squint,
because I do need reading glasses. I should have them on, but you know, generally I can see okay. But
really tiny.
Really tiny at the top of the book, so it's furthest away. That's how.
I know, it's cheered me up, huh? It's cheered me up.
So so that's 21 lots have sold so far.
So we've got 74 lots left, hun.
Yeah. Do you want me to do the
Yes,
value?
I think this is the value of what's sold so
far.
What's
sold so far is £331.39.
So based on that £102.70 outlay, obviously fees haven't been taken out of that, postage.
No, there's still all that to be taken out, but generally it's still, you know, we've definitely made our money back.
Yes. Would we buy them again? I'm going to say no.
There's, you know, if they're smaller, lighter.
Yeah, I think.
Then but some of these were so heavy.
Yeah.
I mean, I can lift quite a lot, and you know, obviously as I'm getting older, it's getting tougher. But these were so heavy. And yes, you could unload and do half a book, but I'm always conscious about time, and you just want it, you know, sorted. And the weight.
It was, not only did you lift them into the van to get them home, you then lifted them out of the van.
Yeah.
And then they went on our living room floor. So then there was
They got moved about.
I was crawling around the floor, bundling them together, scanning them, all that sort of thing.
But even when you lift one of these folders, for instance, they're quite weighty on their own. So of course, when you're lifting them out and doing all the
they come from the living room into our table here, which is in our kitchen. Then they'd go from our table into round the house into the bit where you do the photography.
So we
handled them several times.
Yeah, we did, and there was a lot of lifting, but you know, you can't argue that the value.
There's money to be made.
There is money to be earned.
If you're quite fit.
It's just you have to be quite fit, and obviously, as you could tell, I'm not the lightest of people.
Well, they're heavy though. Books are heavy.
You know.
But one thing to point out is that the listing of it was fairly swift, because we made the bundles of 5, so it was pretty much just a line saying about the bundle of 5, and then just listing them out and the orders, and then move on to the next one. So the whole process of even though it took 3 weeks, it was 95 listings. So it took longer to check the condition of the books in some cases than to actually list them.
Yes.
Because some of the folders, you know, built up of quite a few folders. So that could be quite timely. But what we thought we'd do is not just bore you on how we've made this horrendous. We've done the same thing we did with the knitting patterns, hon. Why do we keep doing the same thing? We buy massive volumes.
Though that the knitting patterns were lighter.
They were lighter, yes. But what we thought we'd do is not show you all of them, so don't worry, we're not going to show you all 95 listings.
No, we're just going to select
a few that we were surprised by, and then if you see them, you might want to, you know, even if you're not into books, you might see them and remember them and go, oh, that's worth that.
That might be worth a bet, if it's cheap enough to buy.
So we're going to start. So we've showed you already the book bundle. So I've got my laptop here. If we look off to the side, it's because it's 5 weeks ago.
I'm trying to remember ourselves.
Remember what book bundle was what. So we're going to put picture 2 up here, which is, I've got it written down here. It's the Blandford Colour Series. This was 9 books, and they sold for £34. So they're quite nice, hun, because they're what I'd call normal book-sized books.
you're all right dealing with those, aren't you?
Yes, they were quite nice.
All right wrapping those.
And as I say, the person who had these books, he'd kept them all. He'd had series. He liked collections and series of things, didn't he?
Yes, that's it.
So then we're going to move on to the great composers. Now we're not sure if this was with that person. It might have been because he liked his magazines, didn't he? But this was a 5-folder collection of great composers. It was by Marshall Cavendish. I think it was the 80s, something like that. This sold for $34.99. And then we're going to move on to these very heavy, These the
So
garden.
I'm just looking at them now.
Was this number 4?
No,
yes.
yeah.
So this was, how many was there? 3,
8, I think.
8.
But they weren't small folders.
No, these were heavy
they were
folders.
Quite hefty
and this
folders.
was, I suppose, a lot of people that are our sort of age, their parents may have had these, because I think my parents might have had these. It was a garden encyclopedia, again by Marshall Cavendish.
Yeah.
And they went for 34. We took an offer. They went up for $39.99,
that's right, yeah.
and they sold for $34.99.
So, yeah, well, 34, I think, dead, wasn't it?
34. You're right.
Yeah,
you're right. So then we are going to show you some other ones that these haven't sold yet, but they have gone. They've been listed, and this is what we've listed them for. So we've got the World Aircraft 1 to 6 by Sampson Lowe. These are up for $34.98. Not bad for 6 books, and again they're the smaller books, aren't they?
Yeah.
Then we've got the Pocket Encyclopedia of Aircraft in Colour. These have gone up for $26.98. Again, that's another 6, isn't it?
Yeah.
Then we've got the Purnell's History of the World Wars. So it's quite war related, a lot of these aviation books.
Yeah.
$28.99. And that is for 7 books.
Yeah, again, smaller books, aren't they?
Then I think this was probably from the first book bundle. This is the Daily Express 1933. Quite surprised at these, weren't we? Set of 12 novels. These are your classic novels like Dickens, things like that. And these have gone up for $129.99.
Yeah,
this is one of the biggest surprises, wasn't it?
These weren't big books, were they?
No, they're like the normal.
They're small, normal sort of size books,
paperback size books.
Yeah, but they're hardback books, and they do look quite nice.
In a good condition.
Yeah.
I say set of 12 adds to the value of it.
Yeah, that's it. So that's a good price for that, isn't it? So hopefully we'll get sort of around that.
Fingers crossed.
Fingers crossed.
Well, it costs 20p a book, so we'd be happy for anything with it. Then we're going to move on to the Great War. This is the Great War, again from 1933. Their first edition volumes, which makes them more valuable.
Yeah.
It's volumes 1, 2 and 3 written by Sir Winston Churchill.
Yeah.
And these were probably one of the biggest surprises, because they've gone up for £274.99. And not bad condition, really, considering the age of them.
Yeah.
Then we've got a controversial one now, This is Royal Romances. It's 2 folders and 37 copies. Now, this was a bit of a shame, because there was a couple of copies missing. I think it was a set of 39, but we only had 37, which is a bit of a shame.
Yeah.
But they are still worth $34.99. That's what they're sort of going up for.
Yeah.
Then we have this which was the one of the ones I didn't really enjoy doing, because it was Success with Houseplants, 5 folders. Now, the reason I didn't enjoy it is because, very well done, because you open the folder and it's like a piece of card, but the card then opens out, like a fold out. I don't know if that's the words to use. But there was over 1,000 cards in those 5 folders. I had to check that they were in consecutive order. There was no missing. 1,000. There was over 1,000 in those folders. So they've gone up for $44.99. So much information in those folders.
Yeah.
And what we're finding is some of these are quite popular in other countries. American.
Yes. And I think some of those
gone to America. I think.
Actually, that last one I think you said about the
gardening
one. I think that's going to the US.
Yeah. So can you imagine the weight, the cost of getting it to there? The weight.
Yeah.
But anyway, yes. So that was a particular pain in the backside for me, because I had to check over 1,000 cards. What fun that was! And then we're going to finish on this one, which you weren't overly impressed with, because it was 18 folders. Yes, 18 folders.
18 folders.
I had to check all those folders. It was 216 magazines. They're airplane magazines. I think they're from the either 80s or 90s, and they have gone up for £119.99. So things that we have learnt from it, hun, or things that we've noticed. If you are listing magazine collections, then you just have to make sure that when you check them, you make reference to the things that people are going to want to know about. So, for example, all of these had the man's name on the front in pencil, where he's obviously collected them from the newsagents.
That's right. Yeah, newsagents. That's it.
Collected them from the newsagents. So you have to sort of mention that. Yeah. When anything's been in storage for a while, there can be some foxing to the pages and some discoloration.
We did have some on a few books at the top, wasn't there? There was some issues on the
sun damage, things like that.
All you have to do is just make sure you declare it in the listing. Make sure you've got nice, clear photos of any problems. It covers yourself, really, doesn't it?
Mm.
That's it.
So really, that's. What do you think? Leave us a comment. Would you have?
Yeah. Would you have done it?
Would you have?
I think what it is we like to try different things, don't we? We don't.
Yes, that's probably what people say. They're always trying.
They're triers, aren't they?
They never get it right. They're always trying.
They're always trying.
But just. You go down a certain path, don't you? And when we started Amazon, we realised that some books were worth quite a bit of money.
Yeah.
And it's like, let's see if we can find some of these vintage books.
We have sold some books on Amazon.
We have sold some books and done good money.
And done real good money. So it does. But you do have to do with Amazon. There's a lot of scanning involved.
Yes, and that's quite mind-numbing, hun.
Yeah, to try and find the right sort of book that you can either be sent up or done FBM.
Yeah, and Mel back from Burnout, the legend, she doesn't have that sort of competition in Australia. I was going to say America, but she's Australian. So in this country, World of Books, most books are only valued at about £3.
Oh,
so that's why we bundled them, and most of our ones were bundled. But what we have learned from it is that we do not really want to be spending our time on things that are going to be selling for £10. We've had this conversation many a time.
We have had it many times, but it is that thing. There's still many things that we haven't tried, and we always want to give something a go. And this is with the books. We've given it a go. I don't think we would necessarily do it again unless there was high value on a small bundle or something like that. We're not afraid of work at all, but it was the weight, and as you get older, you do worry you're going to damage something.
Yes, and I think people will be.
So that's
people will be watching this video thinking you've bought something for £102.70. You may be getting over £2,000. They are probably wondering why we are not doing it again. But I think it's not always about the money. It's about what we want to do for the business, and we want to have. We want to spend less time packing. And our items to be of a higher value, so that Paul's time is not completely taken up packing low value items that we're only making £2 or £3 on. That's what and that's what we've learned from this buying all these books, is that the majority was the £12.99 sort of mark, and there was a few that were at the £34 and the £30 and some are £100. So we've sort of learned that really, if we're buying books, we want to be buying books of a higher value. We don't want to be buying books to bundle, because you're going through a lot of time and work just to make £2 or £3, and that's not really what we want to be doing.
Some people would say we could have just taken out the sort of the cream from it and then just got rid of the rest.
We could have done, but there is value, and we have sold a lot of those 5 book bundles. A lot have gone.
Yeah.
So, but it does sort of highlight how we want to operate.
Yeah, it's not enough profit for the amount of time per listing. I don't think.
No.
It's if you're selling a book bundle for $11.99 or $12.99.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And they're quite a heavy book bundle. Obviously, we include postage in our listings.
We do, yes. All of our prices include postage.
The value that you're actually getting back from it is not great for the amount of time that you've spent on it.
No, don't get us wrong. There are some books that went out singly, and for a 20p book to then turn into 12 or 15.
Oh yeah, that's
great.
Good. It's really good.
You wouldn't mind that so much, but it's having to photograph 5 and arrange them and all. It's timely, isn't it? It's quite timely.
It is timely.
And what
I find it timely anyway. Some people might say no, but
what we have learnt from it is we've learnt more about how to spot first edition books. We've also learnt about the value of magazine collections from the 80s and 90s.
Yeah.
So going forward, that you know, if we saw an auction lot with some books and some of those, we would know that's where the money was.
Yeah.
So we have learned a fair bit from it, which is why I think this is why we tackle these things, because we like to learn about that particular niche, and we have learned a fair bit. But what we've also learned is that our time we don't want to be dealing with those £10, £12 book bundles. We need to
that's it.
Be turning it round quicker, I think, and maximising our time more. But yeah, I think I had no idea that £2,368.46 was going to be the value when we got to the end of it. I mean, no idea.
No, I had no idea as well. I mean, that is absolutely, well, it's fantastic.
And sometimes when you're buying lots, you don't realise that luck comes into play, and I think that we were just lucky that the person who collected those things was very meticulous.
Yes, definitely.
And a lot of them looked new, didn't they?
Yeah. No, a lot
I wonder
of
if
them
he just collected them and just didn't
and
read
just
them.
Didn't read them. That's it. Yeah.
Yes, you know, but we would sort of know now what lots to look at with regard to books, and it's for us. It's the magazine collections and the really old vintage books that we would be really looking at again. So there you go. That sort of concludes, I think. We've bored them for long enough.
Yes, I think we have.
Books, but leave us a message if you think we're crazy. Would you have bought those books? You know, it was interesting, and I do like dealing with different types of things.
Yeah.
So I did sort of enjoy it in a way.
Well, it's
but
it's
I was
the
also very
experience,
happy when it's over.
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, yeah, I am as well. But no, it's the experience of it, isn't it? I mean, you do. You got to try. You've
got to challenge yourself, I think, and I've
it.
got a bit of a thing there. I think I like to challenge myself, try things, and yes, that's sort of what we did.
That is, and I'm sure there will be not necessarily books, but there'll be other things as well that we do from auction, other collections and things like that. I mean, we've done all sorts of them. We've done like the cherished teddies, the posters. How many posters did we have? Christ.
Oh, over 400.
Yeah, I mean, we've sold
crazy,
a lot, but we're getting rid of those now, aren't we?
That's what's coming across in the videos. We're a little bit
crazy.
mad.
And knitting patterns as another one.
Yeah.
And we had all sorts. Evesham.
Gold, didn't we?
That was we had loads and loads of that.
But for anyone who is interested, we're still on average we sell about 20 sets a month, don't we? I think we've just had a sale, so we've sold a bit more than normal.
20 sets.
20 bundles of those knitting patterns go out every month.
Oh yes, sorry, yes.
The average is about that. So
sorry, I didn't know what you were talking about. I mentioned quite a few bundles there, and I was thinking, 20 or what?
I tell you what. No, but I just searched, because some people, they do laugh at us with the knitting patterns, but really,
I am surprised.
Surprised at how many go out. They're really regular, aren't they?
Yeah.
So, which will be like these. It's nothing for a few days, and then when they start to get a bit of traction, they suddenly become quite a regular thing.
Yeah.
So we'll be selling books forevermore now, won't we? These will be going out. But no, our next Wednesday video will be the 7 boxes that we picked up from the auction.
Yes.
Just because I liked a couple of things on the top, I thought, and we bought 7 boxes.
7 boxes.
So that's what we'll be dealing with next Wednesday. I can't wait. I can't wait. They've been sat out on the shelf there.
I hope you do like these auction videos. I mean, we're sort of
we love buying from auction.
We absolutely love buying from
It's because
auction.
it's all vintage. I love vintage stuff.
Yeah, and it's like it's getting that collection, isn't it?
Yeah.
Generally, an auction is where you're going to get the collection,
and it's where you get to learn the most about things as well, because you've got things you don't know anything about, and you're forced to sort of learn about them. And that's, as a reseller, you need to learn. You're always learning. So yeah, I love it.
Yeah.
So I think we're finished there, shall we?
Yeah, we'll let you go now.
Might have to microwave this coffee. It's gone a bit tepid, I reckon.
Yes, I think we will.
But thanks ever so much for all your support. Leave us a comment if you think we're a bit crazy.
Yeah, do give us a thumbs up as well if you wouldn't mind. And subscribe if you do enjoy this sort of content. It is free. It's just a case of pressing that little red button.
You never know what we're going to buy next.
No, that's it. You don't.
Completely random, hon, isn't it?
Yeah,
completely random.
That's it. So yes, thank you very much.
Thanks.